Ascendis Health is a health, and you're right?
I'm just adjusting my spectacles.
It's a health and consumer care brands company operating in plant, animal and human health.
Yeah, it's a great story. It's one of those things that only can happen on the stock market when you get a group that has a controlling investor, in this case a investment company called Coast to Coast, which runs around looking for companies to buy, and then they use the currency of the listed paper to buy these privately owned companies, which then jazzes up the earnings so that produce tremendous forward share growth, and everybody gets rich all at the same time.
Market cap 10.1 billion rand, a PE of 42.6, dividend yield here of 0.9%. This has been a star performer, but we are seeing a little bit of a pullback, and off air you were mentioning that we haven't heard from the company for 6 months, so we're waiting for the results in March.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, they released full year results at the end of September. They hadn't included their new acquisitions in Cyprus and Hungary yet, which were pretty substantial acquisitions. So we still don't really know what it's going to look like afterwards, and the market perhaps just a little bit tentative on the stock for the time being. But if you look at the historic PE of 42 times, doesn't look very cheap. But if you look at it on a forward-looking basis, suddenly that unwinds to a 14 times forward PE after the recent share price weakness, and it doesn't look too bad.
So let's look at the share price graph on this one.
They did a rights issue somewhere in the middle there, which we followed our rights on. So they did get up to 26, 27 rands a share. They've fallen back a touch. They're sitting at like 21, 22, which is about our entry level. But look, there's a lot of things that have been going on here. So Gary Shane and his colleagues at Coast to Coast have been doing deals. Then Carsten Wellner, the CEO, sort of puts it together, and then they've got operational teams. Big exposure now in Europe, as Chantal mentioned, and that's both in
the nutraceutical
generics
space,
as well as in nutraceuticals.
Yes.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's quite interesting. There's a lot of attention to that sector because it's high margin and it's a little bit less tightly regulated, and people love these things, these vitamins and sports drinks and everything else.
Anything that'll give you energy for the day.
Yeah, get you all jazzed up.
Chantal, you've got more to add?
No, I mean, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how it all comes through. It's challenging. You know, I mean, they bought businesses, and sometimes businesses are for sale for a reason.
Exactly, and you've got to integrate this into the broader company. And he talks about, Carsten Wellner talks about, the vertical and horizontal integration. But at the end of the day, it still takes a huge management effort to get everything working together.
Yes, and I mean, if they
unlocking synergies.
Absolutely, if they pull this off in Europe and they can unlock synergies from those businesses, then that'll go a long way in terms of boosting their reputation as deal makers. We know that they can make deals, we know they can integrate, but this European angle is completely new. And we expect them to continue to make acquisitions going forward. It's not going to stop anytime soon. You might still get some rights offers. They did mention they wanted to make meaningful acquisitions in the phytovet and consumer brands division. So if they can pull Europe off, I think investors will be a lot more comfortable.
Especially given the broader overhang. I mean, we've got Brexit happening, how that's going to impact broader Europe and what impact it will have on companies operating in this space.
I guess that is true, although my general view on the Brexit and Euro situation is as long as France and Germany stay in one core relationship, we're going to be fine. So watch the French election. If the French election goes off the rails and Marine Le Pen comes in, then you could have some issues.
We've seen a lot of elections going off the rails, so please don't set this against ourselves.
2 out of 3 wrong. But as far as the company here is concerned, I think they are going to get big enough at 10 billion market cap where they won't necessarily need to do rights issues. They can continue to raise money in the corporate debt market, particularly in Europe, where there's an enormous pool of available funding. So that's another exciting frontier for them.
Let's call it hot or not.
Yeah, I mean, this is an exciting stock. The valuation looks attractive, and it'll have to be hot.
Hot or not?
I think so. I mean, it is smaller than, or it started off being smaller than our normal kind of pick for this portfolio, but we did buy some, and I'm glad we got them when we did in August last year, and we made it a full weight portfolio position. So
and we look forward to March when they release the results.